This is sort of one-off really, but do you know the story in Plato's Symposium about how human beings were created as spherical, and Zeus was so irritated about the multiplication of these human beings that he used his thunderbolt and split them in half. So these spherical beings are now running around the place looking for their other half and terribly stressed until they find it. Now, the idea of a being split in half and one half is masculine and one half is feminine, of course, you could see that to a certain extent in the Kabbalistic traditions of the Tree of Life. And you could also see it literally in the biblical story of Adam and Eve, which is mistranslated. It's one of the many mistranslations, one of the best mistranslations of the Old Testament, the biblical, the Jewish Bible. One of the best mistranslations is the idea of the Ten Commandments. The word commandments doesn't occur in the Hebrew scriptures at all. It's the 10 words, which we get very nicely in the Decalogue. And that's accurately translated into Latin as well, decem verbum. But it's the King James Version which gives us the idea of the Ten Commandments. As the King James Version gives us lots of very strange errors, this is the book which would be presented to the king during the coronation. 3 copies have been printed by the Oxford University Press and specially bound with tooled gold decorations on the front. But it's a very, very faulty, albeit beautiful translation, and together with the works of Shakespeare, it really forms the bedrock of modern English. But it's not necessarily correct. So when we go back to Adam and Eve, Eve is created not out of a rib of Adam. That's such a sort of misogynistic and belittling statement. The word isn't rib. The word for rib exists in Hebrew, and we find it in the Bible. For example, it's the word Allah, and there's a point where it says that a bear has 3 rib bones in his mouth. But the word for the word for the part of Adam from which Eve is created is sela, and that means side. So, for example, the door to Solomon's temple had 2 sides. There's plenty of references to that word in the Bible to know exactly what it means. So I think by the time the King James Bible was being written, there might have been a desire to socially condition the people who are reading the Bible to make sure that women felt inferior to men, that women were made out of a very small part of man's anatomy. It's wrong. It's simply not biblical. And women were created from the side of Adam. So if you want to think of this in the most positive way, and I think we should, women are the equal half of man, and that's definitely the image which occurs in the Kabbalistic traditions, and I think that's an image that we could take forward into the modern understanding of our society, a society that is diverse, that recognizes the equality of men and women, and that recognizes, as in Islam, that everyone is equal in the sight of God. And I think that's a good thing. That's a good lesson to have in these troubled times.